The Indians' O has showed up this weekend against the Mets, assuring the Tribe a series win. Now it's time to get greedy and go for the sweep to keep the pressure on the Rays in the AL wild card. A win today and a Tampa loss means the Indians would be tied for the wild card lead. The action starts next on Sports Time Ohio. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, as the Indians try to broom the New York Mets back to the Big Apple. It's the finale of their three-game series, and it's coming up right here on Sports Time Ohio. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Not only did the Indians get a big win last night, but while we were fast asleep, the Seattle Mariners took care of the Tampa Bay Rays, so the Indians start play today just a game out in the wild card race. And Danny Salazar, the youngster, will go for the Tribe today against Daisuke Matsuzaka, who spent almost the entire year for the Indians in their AAA club, but now he'll be opposing them for the Mets this afternoon.
And Danny Salazar will be on his 70 to 80 pitch limit, but in his last start, he went 6 innings against the Tigers. He threw strikes. He had a very good slider in that start. We'll see if he has the good slider or changeup today. Going up against Daisuke, you can see he has struggled this year since being let go. He is 0-3 with a 10.95 and a good chance for the Indians to sweep.
Yeah, the right-hander for the Mets has given up 15 runs in just 12 innings in the big leagues this year with the New York Mets. Well, the runs have been coming in bunches for the Indians in this series. Nick Swisher's bat is starting to heat up, and hopefully Asdrubal Cabrera's 3-run homer last night gets him going as well. Danny Salazar's on the hill for the Tribe. The play-by-play is next. A gorgeous day in downtown Cleveland. Indians and the New York Mets wrapping up their three-game weekend series. Tribe going for the sweep. Danny Salazar on the hill for the Indians. And let's get a look at Terry Collins' starting lineup today for the Mets. Eric Young Jr. leads it off in left field. Daniel Murphy in the 2-hole, followed by Josh Satin, who will DH. Lucas Duda at first base hitting cleanup. Justin Turner bats 5th. Juan Lagares will bat 6th. Matt Den Decker hitting 7th. Anthony Recker will catch today and bat 8th. And Omar Quintanilla will bat 9th.
Danny Salazar will make the start, his 7th this year. 1-2, trying to get win number 2. That only win came in this ballpark. Coming off a great start against the Tigers, 6 innings, 6 hits. Struck out 5, did not walk anybody, but it was a no decision for him. His only interleague start was against Atlanta. He took the loss in that game. So he's going to try and get one here. The Indians 8-1 in interleague play at home this year.
Danny Salazar ready to wind it up and let it fly here today. 73 degrees at game time and a strong breeze blowing straight in from center field as we start the game with a fastball for a called strike.
Yeah, you can challenge those hitters today. Say, go ahead, hit it into that breeze, see what happens. You can play a little shallower if you're in right, and I would believe center.
Young, a swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Yeah, last check, it said 20 miles an hour. Might even be stronger than that. The 0-2 hit to deep center, but Bourne tracking it, makes the catch on the warning track. One away. He did exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah, let your outfielders go get them. Let's check the Kia Indians defense this afternoon. It'll be Kubel in left field, Bourne in center making that catch. Stubbs in right. Chisenhall gets a start at third. Cabrera at short. Kipnis second. Swisher at first. Santana behind the plate.
Paul Emmel calling the balls and strikes. Chris Conroy at first. The crew chief Gary Darling at second. Jerry Meals down at third. Daniel Murphy rips a base hit into right field. He had his 10-game hitting streak snapped last night. But he jumps on the first pitch from Salazar for a one-out single.
Well, he gets after it, and he gets a fastball to hit, and he challenged him. That one was right there to hit, and he does it. You know, you get it down the middle, you should put a good swing at it. He gets it hard. He gets the first hit of the ball game.
Josh Satin, the designated hitter for New York today, 1 for 4. Struck out 3 times in the series opener. Chases a high fastball. One on, one out. A little bit outside.
We watched Salazar pitch in his last start. He had a better feel for his slider than he did his changeup. The first couple of games we watched him, he had an electric changeup. He had a great feel for it, and that's something he's realizing now, that he's going to have to come up with 3 pitches when you want to pitch at this level.
That breaking ball is hit deep down the left field line. It's a fair ball up against the wall. Kubel digs it out, throws towards second base, and they got him! What a throw by Jason Kubel. He picks up right where Michael Brantley has left off in left field all season long with a perfect strike to Kipnis, and Satin is out number 2.
Well, Kubel, a wise play right there. You're not going to get the guy going from first to third, so Danny hung a slider right there. It wasn't a very good one, so he got hit, but Kubel gets it right into second base. That's the play you want to make, and he gets him by a lot. Nice throw. Nice play. Out number 2 instead of second and third, and 1 out. You get that big second out and a chance for Salazar to get out of the inning.
Nice throw by Kubel. 2 down for Lucas Duda. Outside, ball 1. Duda has gone 1 for 7 in the series. He has struck out 3 times. Tried with a 3-man shift on the right side for the left-handed hitter. Little bit outside. 2-0. Duda wants maybe a little more pine tar.
Yeah, get some of that claw on the hand.
Two balls, no strikes with the runner, Murphy, at third base. Down low. And it's now 3-0. Right-handed hitting Justin Turner on deck. But he has swung the bat very well in this series. Fastball belt high, in for a strike. Fastball missed inside. And a 2-out walk keeps the inning alive, and it will bring up Justin Turner. As we get a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Akron Children's Hospital. For Danny Salazar, pound the strike zone. And for the Indians hitters, have some patience against Daisuke Matsuzaka. Mickey Callaway with an early visit to the mound here in the first inning. Wants to go out and talk with Salazar?
Well, yeah. I don't know if maybe he noticed something with his arm slot or something like that. He has been upstairs in the strike zone in this first inning. Don't know if he saw anything. He came out today throwing harder than he normally does. In his last couple starts, it was about 89, 90 in the first inning. He's been up to 95, 96, 97 here.
Justin Turner, 3 for 8 in the series with a double and a home run. Swung on and missed. Salazar ready with the 0-1. And he threw it by him.
That coming at 97.
No balls, 2 strikes. Turner over his last 10 games has batted .296.
He's had a good series.
Yes, he has. But Salazar 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. Pops him up, but the wind will push that right back out of play.
I like that. He tried to elevate the fastball and throw it by him, and he was able to get a piece of it. He got him a swing and miss at the first 2. Look at where Santana's sitting, and he hits his target. Just got a piece of it. If you get it a little bit back over the middle, he probably will not get a piece of the ball.
Salazar deals.
Oh,
and it's foul tipped in and out of the glove of Santana.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Either it goes in the glove and it sticks. It was a good pitch. He just did get a little piece of that, and watch it deflect right out of the glove. Santana thought he had it. It just didn't stick.
So the count stays 0-2 with Mets at first and third and 2 down in the top half of the first inning. Popped up foul. That's out of play. Ideally, you'd like to see Salazar be as efficient as possible here today. He's thrown 12 out of 17 pitches for strikes.
Well, he said, he'd like to go 10 pitches per inning in this game if he could. But when you get foul balls like that, they make you work, and then the 2-out walk certainly hurt him a little bit, but still only 17 pitches.
Now the 0-2. Fastball, and it was up and away, but Turner was swinging anyway.
Yeah, this guy has not met a pitch he didn't like today. Maybe you want to bounce one a little bit and change his eye level because everything's been upstairs. It's been on that plane. Nothing has been down to change his eye level. Either bounce one or get one really low, see if he'll chase that just to get him off the pitches that are belt high and above.
98 miles an hour.
Now it's getting frustrating.
Salazar ready, the 2-strike pitch. And another foul back. He's just rearing back nothing but gas.
This is like going to the batting cage and you get Iron Mike that's throwing it the 90-mile-an-hour cage, and he's throwing it in the same spot, and he keeps doing the same thing with it. Foul it off, and foul it off. You've got to mix something else in.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat.
He's still 0-2. There
Finally threw it by him. 98 miles an hour. And Salazar strikes out Turner to end the inning. The Mets get a couple of hits. They strand a pair. The Indians are coming to bat. Francona's starting 9, brought to you by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Michael Bourne has hit in 4 straight. He'll lead it off, followed by Nick Swisher. Then Jason Kipnis bats 3rd. Carlos Santana cleanup. Jason Kubel 5th as Drupal Cabrera will bat 6th. Jason Giambi will hit 7th. Lonnie Chisenhall 8th, and Drew Stubbs bats 9th.
Daisuke Matsusaka makes the start. He is 0-3, an ERA of 10.95. So he made a start against Detroit. His first one up here, then Philadelphia, then Atlanta, and now he gets the Tribe. Let's check that defense behind him this afternoon. It looks like this. It's going to be Young in left, Dendecker in center, Lagares in right, Turner at 3rd, Quintanilla at short, Murphy at 2nd, Duda at 1st, Recker behind the plate.
Daisuke misses up and away for ball 1.
Yeah, patience is in order today with this guy on the mound. He's a guy, when he tries to get ahead of you, then he expands it and gets you to swing at his pitch. You should be able to go deep in the count off of him.
See that fastball at 87 miles an hour. Down and in. 2 balls and a strike. Daisuke spent the year. He went to spring training with the Indians. Spent the year at AAA Columbus. Two-one pitch. The Indians let him out of his deal, and then the Mets signed him.
Yeah, the longest he has pitched is 5 innings in any of his 3 starts at the major league level this year. And that came against Detroit, where he gave up 6 hits and 5 runs. His next start was 4 1/3 innings, and then 3 innings against Atlanta.
Got him looking at a breaking ball just over the outside corner. Bourne does not like the call. 1 away. Our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile Index. 33 and 15 in his 61 career starts to start out his career, but then you see the numbers drastically different ever since. Missed inside, ball 1. Swisher obviously has familiarity with Daisuke, facing him for a number of years while he was with New York. Breaking ball in the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes. You know, even when Daisuke was more of a top flight pitcher, he was a guy even then would get to 2 strikes and he would go to nibbling and
throw
a lot
innings,
of pitches.
Five innings, he's at 100 pitches, it seems like. Every time we have witnessed him pitching, that's the way it's been. It was a lot like Ubaldo. He'd throw a lot of pitches, you go deep in the count, and you look at that 5th inning, 6th inning, and he's there.
2-1 count. Swisher fouls it back out of play. So the count evens up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. With 1 out here in the bottom of the first, no score.
Yep.
Said he went around, and that's a strikeout, 2 down. Our stat of the game brought to you by your Northern Ohio Buick dealers. The last 4 games, the Indians averaging almost 7 runs per ball game, scoring a lot early, playing from in front. That's been really their MO all season long. Getting some of those clutch hits. Drive off to a great September start.
Yeah, they were in some kind of a drought of scoring first, but boy, it's been fun watching them.
Jason Kipnis looks at a strike over the outside corner. In the air to left field, Young will make the catch. The Indians go 1-2-3, no score after 1. McDonald's now introducing 3 exciting new Quarter Pounders. And by Kia. No score, second inning. For the Mets, Juan Lagares to lead it off, and he takes a strike. Lagares has hit in 12 straight games. Swing and a miss. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Tied for the longest hitting streak of the year for the Mets. David Wright also hit in 12 in a row. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Threw the fastball right by him. Second strikeout for Salazar, 1 down in the second inning. With more on Danny Salazar, here's Katie Witham.
Well, Matt, Rick, you guys mentioned Danny Salazar's pitch count limitations. With that, you would think in between his starts, Salazar would be doing less to conserve his energy, but he told me he's actually doing more. In fact, he spends all of his time in the training room and the weight rooms trying to strengthen both his legs and his shoulders. Now, Mickey Callaway did say his last 2 side sessions, they've thrown only flat ground to help minimize strain on his body, and they feel like that's helped a lot.
Matt Den Decker swings through a high fastball. And a count 0-1. And I think for any young pitcher, you get to this point in the season when you haven't thrown a lot. Not to mention these are big league teams you're facing, and in the heat of a pennant race, you always wonder how a guy will react. And for Salazar, he's been virtually unflappable on the mound.
Well, this is a good learning experience for him and something that he can take into the offseason, realizing what he's going to have to get ready for next year.
Called strike.
I mean, most of the minor leagues, they're done at the beginning of September. Well, you've got 30 games left when your normal season's over when you get to the big leagues. And even for the major leaguers, some of these guys that have made the transition this year for the Indians, they haven't pitched a full season.
Did he go? They appeal he did not.
Well, you look at it from the side. He checked it.
Upstairs with a fastball and a full count. Den Decker has had at least 1 hit in 4 of his last 5 games with an at-bat. Overall, 6 for his last 17 at the plate. Bats here with 1 out in the second. Base is empty. Swing and a miss. Salazar has struck out 3 in a row. 2 down here in the second.
He's coming in with the fastball. There's no guess about it. Here you go. Here it is. You hit it. He did not. He swung through it.
Travis d'Arnaud did the catching in the first 2 games of the series. Anthony Recker handling the catching duties here today, batting in the 8th spot. He's picked up a hit in 5 straight games. And a belt-high fastball for a called strike. Lays off the slider. 2-1 to count. He just powers it right by him at 97 miles an hour.
He's not messing around this first time through. He's basically going with a lot of heaters.
Two count for Wrecker. Another fastball. That one fouled right into the mask of Santana. Salazar again delivers, and a breaking ball hit foul, third base side. Wrecker will try again as Salazar tries to finish the inning with his 40th pitch of the game.
Yeah, that's not what he wanted to do. There you go.
Throw it right by him. Salazar strikes out the side here in the second inning. He's fanned 4 in a row. Beautiful sunny skies. Had some cloud cover early, but I think the wind has blown those clouds out of town.
In a hurry. It sure has. It's beautiful right now.
Carlos Santana, Jason Kubel, and Asdrubal Cabrera to bat for the Tribe here in the second. They went 1-2-3 in the first. Santana's gone 2 for 6 in the series. And he looks at a first pitch strike. And a breaking ball in there. It's 0-2. So Dice K coming out throwing a lot of strikes here early, 10 out of 14. Look at the glove. He wants it down. And he misses low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, he has an assortment of everything. The good, big, slow curveball we saw at 71, 79 slider. Fastball anywhere from 86 to maybe tops out at 90.
Chopped to second base. And Murphy throws out Santana, 1 away. Injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Brandon Phillips for the Cincinnati Reds. Day-to-day, he's got a left quad injury. Derek Jeter day-to-day with an ankle problem. Here's Jason Kubel. 0 for 2 in the series opener with a walk. Sat out last night's game, takes the ball down low. Indians begin the day 1 game behind Tampa in the wild card race, tied with Baltimore. That's down low. The Yankees are a game and a half in back of the Indians. Kansas City 2.5 back in the wild card race. And, of course, the Royals come to town tomorrow night to open a 3-game series. Now the 2-0 pitch. Kubel fouls it back out of play. Al will keep us updated throughout the day on the other wild card important games. But Boston out to an early 1-0 lead over the Yankees. Red Sox trying to complete a 4-game sweep of New York. Again, fouled out of play, 2-2. Kubel shoots that over toward the dugout. Almost got one of his teammates, or did he?
He did. He sure did. He couldn't get out of the way. You get pinned down that corner of the step there, yeah, you got nowhere to go. The other guys, they come into the dugout. They got away. Whoever's sitting on the end didn't. He was trapped.
Now the 2-2. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout. That's 3 for Dice K. 2 down in the second inning. Our great clip of the game from last night is Drupal Cabrera snapping an 0 for 19 slump with a home run. A 3-run shot. Great clips. It's going to be great. He almost got him again.
No, I think
Wilmer Flores is going to learn eventually to just get out of the way. That time he got up and moved. Moved the feet and avoid getting hit again. Hit hard to first. Big hop for Duda. Indians go 1-2-3. No score after 2. Quintanilla, Eric Young, Daniel Murphy duo. Danny Salazar has struck out 4 Mets hitters in a row. Upstairs, ball 1. Quintanilla has hit in 3 straight games for New York. Fouled right back. 1-1 the count.
Salazar has already had 10 swings and misses. And this is just starting the 3rd inning. That is a lot.
Well, it gives you an idea of the velocity on that fastball. Yeah, and you talk about radar guns. Sometimes you don't need a radar gun. The hitters will give you an idea how good your stuff is.
The hitters will let you know. He hasn't had an off-speed pitch yet. He threw one slider, got hit down into the corner. He was thrown out at second base. I mean, he hasn't been able to throw his changeup yet or his breaking ball, at least consistently for strikes. It's basically been all fastballs.
That fastball up and away, and the count runs full. Payoff pitch. Fastball swung on and missed. You talk about dotting the corner. 97 miles an hour at the knees, outside corner, 5 straight strikeouts for Salazar.
Yeah, well, when you can locate it here and you're throwing it as hard as he's throwing it, they don't have a chance. But he has been upstairs a lot in the zone, and that was just a perfect pitch there.
Salazar has fanned 5 in a row. The last Indians pitcher to strike out 6 straight was Chuck Finley back in 2002.
I remember Bartolo Colon started the game in Toronto where I think it was 6 in a row at one point in time.
That was back in 2000. He started the game with 6 straight strikeouts against the Blue Jays.
And didn't Bob Feller do it one time?
1938.
Wow.
Swung on and missed. Eric Young swung at a high heater, could not catch up. And a line drive base hit into right field.
See, that's a breaking ball there. That's his off-speed pitch. So he has been, I know 2 of the hits have come on off-speed pitches out of the 3. There it is. That's an off. It looks like a straight change to me. And elevated a little bit, so Young gets another base hit, and keep your eye on him. He may be off and running. He's been stealing a lot of bases lately.
Well, Daniel Murphy singled his first time up. He swung at a first pitch fastball and singled into right field. Eric Young, by the way, you're talking about his running ability. He has stolen 7 bases in his last 9 games. Way outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Upstairs, 2-0, and out goes Santana for a chat. And Mickey Callaway out for the second time today. He's got one out here in the inning. 32 out of his 52 pitches have been strikes. And he's primarily just rearing back, throwing a lot of fastballs.
He's turned in basically, he's a one-pitch pitcher today. I don't know if Mickey's going out there maybe talking something about his off-speed pitches, but they haven't been there today, the slider or the changeup. Now, in his other starts last time, I said his slider was there. He had a better slider than he did changeup, so he stayed with it. At least he had two pitches. But today it doesn't seem like he's hung a couple sliders, and they have 2 of the 3 hits off his breaking ball.
Upstairs again, 3-0. There's a fastball in for a strike. Young held at first by Swisher. Bouncer to first, but it's going to go foul. So full count now. And you'll expect Young to be moving at first on this 3-2 pitch to Murphy. Another fastball. Runner goes up high, ball 4. Second walk issued by Salazar, and New York has 2 on with 1 out here in the 3rd. Now let's get a look at today's trivia question, brought to you by AT&T. Four players in Major League history have a last name that begins with A.A. Who are the 4? We'll have the answer coming up a little bit later in the game. In for a strike.
Okay, there was an off-speed pitch for a strike. First pitch of the at-bat.
Upstairs, another fastball. Boy, his fastball, when he's missed today, it has been sky high. Nothing doing at second base. The 1-1. High pop foul out of play. Nick Hagedorn already up in the Indians bullpen. Danny Salazar, it's kind of a bit of a frustrating start. He's been electrifying with 5 straight strikeouts, but he's just thrown a ton of pitches already. 2 on, 1 out, 1-2 pitch. Threw it by him. Another strikeout. 2 down in the inning.
Well, I'll tell you, there haven't been many balls put in play. Actually, one other than the strikeout. I'm sorry, and then he threw him out at second base after a base hit. That's it. Other than that, it's been strikeouts. We've already got lefty warming up. That's Nick Hagedorn in the Indians bullpen.
There's a strike called. Lucas Duda walked his only time up. Two on, 2 out. Salazar, the 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss. Salazar ready. He slings it in there. And another strikeout. 7 strikeouts for Danny Salazar. He struck him out 1, 2, 3 in the second. He strikes out 3 more here in the third. One to stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. No score, bottom of the third, bottom third of the Indians order to up here. Jason Giambi will lead it off. There's the line in the 0-1. Giambi fouls it back out of play. Now the 0-2. Upstairs. Jason Giambi sitting on 1,999 hits in his career. Count evens, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Down in the dirt and a full count.
There you go for the first time today from 0-2 to 3-2.
Payoff pitch. Giambi fouls it out of play. Giambi, then Lonnie Chisenhall, Drew Stubbs here in the third for Cleveland. Time again. Now the catcher goes out to talk. Hey, remember a few days ago we were doing a game and there was a guy here with a red 1975 Indians jersey.
Rocky Colavito.
And the Colavito number and the name stitched on the back, and you said, that looks like
that's it.
A real
That's
deal.
The
that looks like
jersey. Yeah.
Well, that fan got word to us as the payoff pitch to Giambi is fouled back out of play. James R. Bright was at the ball game, and he wanted you to know it is in fact an original.
All right, James, thank you.
He bought that
Colavito
jersey at an auction, and he's got a number of jerseys, but that is his favorite.
That's the real deal.
You know
what? I had one. I've got one in my basement, and it looked like the exact same one. So that's a nice item right there.
Giambi draws a walk, and the Indians have their first base runner, leadoff man aboard here in the third.
Well, the video game that puts you in the owner's suite is now available free on iPhone and iPad. You can build your stadium and make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today.
Lonnie Chisenhall, last 6 games, he's picked up 5 hits. One of those hits, a double in this series. Outside, he missed ball 1. The 2-0 pitch popped him straight up. The shortstop, Quintanilla. It's one of those days you got to keep your feet moving on any ball popped up with that breeze blowing. 1 down here in the third. Fox Sports 1 is available on all television providers. All you have to do is log on to foxsports1.com to find out what channel Fox Sports 1 is on in your area. Stubbs fouls it back out of play. Breaking ball a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Back out of play again. Swung on and missed. He just threw it right by him. 4th strikeout for Daisuke. 2 down here in the 3rd.
Looks like he comes back at him with a fastball. They want it upstairs, and it is. It was about belt high. I think they wanted a little bit higher than what it was, but that worked. He got it by Stubbs, out number 2.
First pitch strike to Michael Bourne. Bourne was rung up on a breaking ball to start the game. Lifted in the air to left center. Dan Decker, fighting the sun and the wind, stays with it and makes the catch. 3 complete, no score here at Progressive Field. Danny Salazar, 7 strikeouts through 3 innings. He's on the bump when we come back. So far, it has been a contrast in styles. Danny Salazar with just pure firepower, throwing fastballs by New York hitters, striking out 7. Daisuke with the finesse game. He hasn't allowed a hit through the first 3. Salazar starts this 4th inning, though, with activity behind him in the bullpen.
Yeah, they had activity last inning. He's averaging about 21 pitches per inning. That's 63 pitches. His goal coming into today was wanted to go out there and go 10 pitches per inning. Well, game plan B. He's got to go out there. Hagedorn is up getting loose. But the 7 strikeouts, it's amazing. Only 1 out has been really put in play.
That was the first one of the game.
Yeah. Other than that, you had a base hit that was thrown out at second base, and then all punch outs.
Popped up, back out of play. Fastball low and away. 3 balls and a strike. That's hit a long way, deep left field and long gone. Justin Turner continues his tear. That's his 4th hit in the series, his 2nd home run against the Indians, and it gives New York a 1-0 lead here in the 4th inning. It's their first lead in the series.
I'll tell you what, I like the way this kid swings the bat. He does not get cheated. He gets after the fastball. He swings hard, and he keeps his hands back on the breaking ball. But I watch this. He gets that foot up, and that pitch is right down the middle, but he challenged him, and he got burned. That high fastball, he smoked one the other night on the high fastball, which was a home run. So 2 home runs, both in the series.
Now Lagares, a swing and a miss at a high fastball. Outside with it, 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2 the count on Juan Lagares. Lagares riding a 12-game hitting streak. Boy, he had a good cut on that fastball. That time a breaking ball fooled him, broke his bat. Chisenhall throws him out, 1 away. Our AT&T U-verse rewind. Danny Salazar has been a 1-pitch pitcher for the most part here today, but that 1 pitch has been electrifying.
Well, it's been a good fastball. He's challenged hitters, and the Mets hitters, he's had a lot of swings and misses for 4 innings of work going into the 4 innings. But he's left a couple balls middle of the plate, and they've got a couple of hits. But for the most part, 7 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings.
Another swing and a miss, this one by Matt Den Decker. Breaking ball lifted to left field. And Jason Kubel makes the grab, 2 down.
Well, you might want to bring your dog down to Progressive Field tomorrow because the Indians' annual Puppy Palooza event will take place. All vaccinated vets can enjoy the Indians 7:05 game with the Royals. Visit Indians.com and get your tickets and view all the details.
Swung on and missed. Anthony Recker comes up empty, struck out his first time up. Oh, just blew it by him. 98 miles an hour. And Salazar just continues to reach back and say, here it is, see if you can hit it. Turner squared one up and sent it out of here for the game's only run thus far. Good chance this might be the final hitter of the game for Salazar. And the 0-2 pitch is popped up foul and out of play. Fastball took off again on him. The 1-2. Strike three called. 8th strikeout of the day for Danny Salazar, but the New York Mets get on the board first on the solo homer by Turner. .com are Swisher and Cabrera getting hot at just the right time. The Browns' AFC North outlook, and can Kenny Guyton hold the reins as long as needed? Get complete coverage of all today's action involving Ohio sports on FoxSportsOhio.com. Nick Swisher leads off the bottom of the 4th for the Tribe. And Daisuke Matsuzaka with a breaking ball in for a strike. Comes back with a fastball. And the fastball up to 90 miles an hour. He started out the game right around 86, 87 miles an hour consistently. This is not the same Daisuke that the Mets saw in his first 3 starts. A little bit inside. The 1-2. Swisher lines it up the middle, a base hit. He beat the shift. Normal defense, and they probably have an out there. But with 3 on the right side, the vacated shortstop position is where Swisher took that base hit right back through.
Why not? The guy's not going to overpower you. I mean, that ball was right there. He challenged him. It was a fastball, maybe trying to get it inside, but Swisher takes him the other way. First hit of the day for the Indians. Leadoff single here to start the 4th.
And up comes Jason Kipnis. Fly to left, his only time up. Popped up, back behind the plate, out of play.
All right, little kid got down there and got it. Good hustle.
Kipnis showed bunt, pulled it back, and the pitch misses for ball 1.
Tell you what, he was back there. That's a good idea. He was playing 3-4 steps back behind the base. They were giving him a bunt. Now he may come up and even with the bag, but Kipnis, he's laid down a couple of very good bunts recently, so why not, man? It's like a give-me base hit. He doesn't believe he's going to do it.
2 balls and a strike. Back out of play. 2-2. Upstairs he missed, and a full count.
Well, you got to start Swisher now. Kipnis with the full count. You're figuring he is going to put it in play. Let's see if we can find a hole and go to first to third him.
Swisher takes off. 3-2 pitch ripped foul. Come back and try it again.
Didn't we have this combination one day where he fouled off about 4 or 5 in a row on a 3-2 count with Swisher running?
I think it was.
And he was gassed.
Swisher draws a throw. Again, the set by Dice K. Swisher goes outside, ball 4.
There you go. Good
Tribe
start.
has their first 2 on here in the 4th inning. And we'll go back to the Hyundai Studios for an in-game update with Al Pawlowski.
Hey, Matt, Rick, let's go to New York. The Red Sox taking on the Yankees once again. So far, low scoring for these teams. In the 4th inning, it's 1-0 thanks to Mike Karp with this RBI double here to score David Ortiz. That's been it thus far. Boston leads New York by a run. Matt?
All right, thanks, Al. Carlos Santana grounded out his only time up. 2 for 7 in the series.
This is when he really slowed down in the past, is when you get base runners. Very deliberate out there on the mound, and he never speeds up for anybody. He'll take his time, and hitters will call time out and step out on him.
A called strike. Well, he's batted .300 on the year with runners in scoring position. Foul and nice two-step by
Sarby.
Mike Sarbaugh. Keep those quick feet moving. That's going to go out of play. You know, Al was talking about the fact that it's a low-scoring game so far in New York today.
They're tired.
How about the Red Sox are the first visiting team in more than a century to score at least 9 runs 3 straight games against the Yankees.
Yeah.
And the last time it happened, they were called the Highlanders, and that's what Boston did it to them. 1912.
Right? Okay.
How about that?
Well, and in the last 4 games, they've scored 54 runs, so their offense has been unbelievable.
High pop. That's not going anywhere.
No, that's going to be an infield fly rule. Watch where he's got it. He's got to come all the way back.
Makes the catch. The infield fly rule was in effect. Gary Darling, the crew chief, had the hand up, but that was amazing. He was about 10 yards out on the outfield grass and had to go sprinting in to get it.
He caught it on the dirt. He never really had to go out. Watch where he goes, and then watch where he ends up catching the ball. He turned his back and said, okay, I've got it. Oh, no, I don't. There's the sun, now the wind. He comes back into the dirt and having to make the catch. That, you better keep your feet moving today, boys. That's not an easy play with the sun out and not a cloud in the sky back there.
Well, now Jason Kubel struck out his only time up. There's a high fly ball on the line. That's going to slice foul and out of play.
Boy, you better, if you're going to hit one today to right field, you got to go line drive. You can't go sky high. Kubel has good numbers against Matsusaka, 7 for 14. Indians trying to fight back and get on the board because the Mets put a solo home run on in the top half of the 4th.
A little bit outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Way outside, 2 balls and a strike. Well, it would be important to come right back and get on the board because we've given the numbers. The Indians have been incredible when they score first. When the opposition scores first.
Yes.
The Indians' record is 20-42.
That's opposite.
That's 56-23 when they get on the board first.
And I'm sure Salazar is going to be out of the game.
No, Hagedorn's still up in the
right.
bullpen.
He's been up, so he will be coming on. So you had the first 2 guys on in the inning. Take advantage of it. Yep.
Takes a called strike, and
Good
it's 2-2.
Ball.
Two on, 1 out here in the 4th. And the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. That's 5 strikeouts for Dice K. 2 down in the inning.
Well, you can guarantee playoff ticket priority with a deposit on 2014 season ticket package. Plus, season ticket holders also receive discounts on single game tickets and access to Tribe rewards. Just visit Indians.com for more details.
As Dribble Cabrera grounded out his only time up. Cabrera hit a 3-run homer last night that gave the Indians breathing room. Takes the ball down low. Cabrera's home run last night was literally right down the line. And if you're going to hit one out today, as Rick said, you're either going to have to hit a low liner to right field or hit it right down that right field line toward the bullpen, because with that upper deck, that'll block the wind. And sometimes you almost get an effect where the wind comes in, hits the upper grandstand behind the plate, and it'll shoot it out to right field a little bit. 1-1 to count. This was the home run, though, by Cabrera last night that snapped his 0 for 19.
Down and in. Cabrera likes that ball down. And boy, did he need that.
Yes, he did.
I mean, just for, just to make yourself feel good, he needed that. And we'll see, well, if you followed him in, a little wry smile.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking it's about time.
Rope foul.
Because, again, it has seemed like every time Cabrera comes to the plate, he's got a couple men on base recently. And he's had opportunities and situations where he could do a little damage, and I don't know what it is. It just seems like it happens that way. When you're not hitting is when you get the opportunities. When you're going well, they're not,
Bases are empty every time.
Yeah, you don't see anybody on base. You're going, wait a minute, where are they?
Well, he's down on the count now, 1-2. And a lazy pop left field. Eric Young will make the catch. Indians get their first two on, but they can't do anything with it. And after 4, it's 1-0 New York. The wireless receiver only from AT&T Uverse. Rethink possible. And by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. We head to the 5th inning with the New York Mets leading at 1-0. Danny Salazar out after 4 innings. Struck out 8, allowed 1 run on the solo homer. Today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen is for the left-hander Nick Hagedorn. Hagedorn's got a left-handed hitter, then a switch hitter, and then another left-handed hitter. And while he is in the ball game, there is a right-hander, Matt Albers, getting loose in the Tribe pen. Omar Quintanilla due to lead off for New York. So Danny Salazar, the only problem he had today was his inability to really command a secondary pitch. He was primarily all fastballs. And hard to argue with the results. I mean, he had 8 strikeouts and was really overpowering with that fastball. But because he only had the 1 pitch, they were able to foul off a number of pitches and just drive up his pitch count.
Well, his pitch count is only between 70 and 80, so it's not a lot to work with, really, especially if that happens. You don't have your good command, and they do foul off pitches. Unfortunately, he's at the end of the line for his innings for the year.
Omar Quintanilla struck out in the 3rd. Looked like a pretty good pitch. It was called a ball, and it's 2-0. Threw the fastball by him. It's 2-1. Bunts it right back to Haggett on a nice short hop pick. Throws him out 1 away. All right, time to get the answer to the AT&T trivia question. Well, the machine froze. We don't have the answer just yet. Well, we have the answer.
Stay tuned. You know, with the double A's. 4 guys with their last name starting with AA.
Of course, the easy one that everybody gets is Hank Aaron.
You think so?
That's the one everybody gets.
Wouldn't have got that.
The rest of them not quite so obvious. Fastball strike to Eric Young Jr. Singled his last time up. Though if you've been watching any of the series to this point, you might have an idea, at least one of the others, because he's pitched in the series.
Correct.
Tied him up 0-2. Now the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. No match. 2 down here in the 5th. All right, now we're ready for the answer to the AT&T trivia question. Hank Aaron is 1. Tommy Aaron is another. David Aardsma, who has pitched in the series, and a guy you faced many times, Don Ossie.
Don Ossie, right, a relief pitcher.
Big breaking ball drops in for a strike on Daniel Murphy, who has singled and walked in his first 2 trips today. Lays off that breaking ball in the dirt. 1-1. Two and 1 to count. 2 down here in the 5th inning. And that's low. 3 balls and a strike. Right-handed hitting Josh Satin waits on deck. Matt Albers ready in the bullpen. Hagedon's 3-1 pitch. And a full count as he whacked that right back off the mask of Santana.
Took a pretty good rip.
Yeah, he did.
Had the count in his favor, and he says, I'm looking for the fastball. He gets it, and watch the healthy cut. And that ball right off the mask.
And the payoff pitch. Missed badly, ball 4. 2-out base runner, and that's going to be it for Hagedon. Timeout for a pitching change. Matt Albers will be coming on when we come back. Today's Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen. The Mets lead it 1-0 here in inning number 5. They'll have a runner at first base and 2 down when Albers enters the game.
Tuesday night, the Kansas City Royals will be in town. It'll be another dollar dog night here out at the ballpark. Dollar dogs just $1 all game long. 12-ounce beers, only $4. Log on to Indians.com for your tickets.
All right, it's up to Matt Albers now with a runner on and 2 out here in the 5th inning. Josh Satin, the DH, 1 for 2 on the day. Albers on for the 48th time this year, 3-1, a 3.46 ERA. Albers has been one of those guys who has been the handyman of the bullpen, if you will. He's pitched in a number of different roles, whether it be pitch a couple of innings at an end of a game, pitch to a batter here or there, log an inning or two. It doesn't matter. Whatever Terry Francona has asked him to do, he has been willing and able. And that's obviously the most important thing when you're in that bullpen. You have to be able to answer the bell. And it may ring 4 or 5 times in a week, and it might go a week where it doesn't ring at all.
Well, now that they have 21 pitchers, I think everybody can answer the call.
Slowly chopped towards third. Chisenhall on the move. How about that? 1 pitch.
I like it.
1 out, and the inning is over. They're down 1-0, and so far, Daisuke Matsuzaka has completely stifled their offense, which had been on a pretty good roll over the last few games. But one hit allowed thus far. And as we go to the bottom of the fifth, it'll be Jason Giambi, Lonnie Chisenhall, and Drew Stubbs. Matsuzaka has struck out 5, and he has walked 2 batters. But for the most part, he's been aggressive. 66 pitches, 43 have been strikes.
He's almost been 2-1 strikes. He was up until last inning. But I think the Indians got to take that approach, trying to take him the other way. Staying on the baseball, what he's doing, he's throwing about 88 to 90 when he throws his fastball. But then a lot of off-speed pitches. Swisher had the right move, got the base hit to left field. And that was on the pitch inside.
Giambi takes the ball inside. Indians came in winners in 4 straight, 5 out of 6, and 11 games above 500. Found out of play, it's 1-1. Just 1 game behind Tampa in the wild card race. Tied with Baltimore.
Well, and you look at the schedule, and it favors the Indians because you get those American League East teams that are going to be playing each other, and they could beat each other up. Indians just keep on winning. Try and win every series you can, and I think they'll have a pretty good chance.
By the way, the White Sox are out to a 2-0 lead over Baltimore in the 4th inning. That's at Camden Yards. Here's a look at what the Indians have left. 3 with Kansas City, then they'll hit the road for 7. Back home for 4, and then 2 against Chicago, and then they'll finish the year with 4 at Minnesota.
It's all Chicago, Kansas City, Houston, Minnesota.
Right back over the screen. As you said, the key for the Indians is not necessarily, hey, they've got to win 8, 9 in a row.
No,
but
you're not going to go undefeated. Come on.
You've got to try to win the series, which they've already done here. But anytime you win the first 2, boy, you'll want to finish the job and get the sweep.
You sure do. They did. That's the one thing you do well. And in the second half, what they've been doing is losing the first one. And if you win the series, then you've got to win the next 2. That puts a little more pressure on you. You win the first 2, then you can maybe relax and just go out and have a little fun and go for the sweep. They're trying to do that today.
Two-two pitch. Hit right at the second baseman Murphy from the outfield grass. And Giambi is out number 1 here in the 5th. Let's go back downstairs to Katie Witham.
Well, Tribe fans, if you are planning vacations this winter, plan to hang out with us in spring training out in sunny Arizona. The Indians have 3 different exciting travel packages that you can check out now. Get more information by calling 855-298-5444. Matt, back up to you.
They can hang out with you, Katie?
That's
Is that what
right.
you said?
Yes.
When are you going to be out there?
Hopefully that first week of full team training.
You got it.
Bugging
February.
you guys.
You'll be out there all spring.
Lonnie Chisenhall popped up on the infield, his only time up. Strike called outside corner. Ripped foul. Look out.
He had to pull that one out of that Chief Wahoo on his shirt. That got stuck in his chest.
He hung with it, though.
Yeah, he's not breathing real well, but he's got a souvenir.
Chief Wahoo's shedding a few tears on that shirt now. There's the 1-2. Curveball low. Fastball smoked to center. But Den Decker almost ran too far back. 2 away. Well, Matsuzaka has struck out 5. He got Bourne looking at a curveball early.
Backdoor breaking ball. There's another breaking ball. Couldn't check your swing. Another breaking ball. You see where the strikeouts are coming. That was a fastball, and that was a fastball. So his last 2 strikeouts have come on the fastball, the first 3 off the breaking ball.
Drew Stubbs wanted a bunt. He got the big curveball, and he had to readjust on it. Jabbed at it, but missed. Well, the Indians had 2 on and nobody out in the 4th inning, and since then, Daisuke has set down 5 straight. And he's got Stubbs down on the count 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2. Another curveball. Strike 3 called. Indians go in order. 6 straight set down by Daisuke. 1-0 New York. And Dan O'Toole are joined by Donovan McNabb, Gary Payton, Andy Roddick, and Carissa Thompson to bring you all you need to know about the world of sports. Fox Sports Live airs nightly on Fox Sports 1. Well, we move now to the 6th inning, and the Mets lead it by a 1-0 score. Lucas Duda, Justin Turner, Juan Lagares due up here for the Mets. Matt Albers only needed 1 pitch to get the final out of the 5th inning. He'll stay on to work the 6th.
Look at this.
Chopper to 3rd. Chisenhall cuts it off, throws him out. Nicely done by Lonnie with that shift on. You weren't sure if he was going to be able to get over there.
I thought it was going to sneak by him.
2 pitches, 2 outs for Matt Albers. Here's our in-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 1 swing of the bat, The only run of the game, Justin Turner's second home run in the series. And it's 1-0 New York. Down low with it. Slowly chopped. That might stay fair, and if it does, it's going to be a hit.
Perfect swing and bunt. It's his day. Same man had 2 swings. The last one a home run, this one a base hit on the infield. That's that sinker coming in that had movement on it. It was a good pitch by Matt Albers. Watch this swing. Big swing. Perfect bunt. Swing and bunt. That goes as a single, though. He is now 2 for 3, and he has had a good series.
Gives him 5 hits in the series. And it brings up Juan Lagares, who has been swinging the bat probably about as well as any New York hitter. 12-game hitting streak. 0 for 2 today. Takes a called strike. Tried to bunt. Stays foul. And the count now 0-2. Runner goes. The 0-2 pitch is a swing and a foul at the plate. Turner will go back to first. He never picked up the ball or got a heads up from the middle infielders, and he went head first into the bag.
I didn't see where the ball went.
Went straight down. I think.
That's why I missed it. And I thought he had a stolen base, but fouled it off.
Again, the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Albers gets his first strikeout. That's the 10th strikeout for Indians pitching here today, and we'll go back to the Hyundai Studios for an in-game update with Al Pulaski.
All right, Matt, let's head to Kansas City where the Tigers are taking on the Royals, and Detroit out to an early lead thanks to Jose Iglesias here. A 2-run homer in the third. That's his third of the year, and that's been it. Tigers lead the Royals 2-0 at the K. They're in the fourth. Matt?
I guess those shin splints aren't bothering Jose Iglesias today. He's back in there and hitting a home run.
Young kids.
Murph said he was looked like Hopalong going around the bases, though. So maybe the shin splints are still bothering him. But when you hit him over the fence, you can jog, take your time.
That's the key.
2 down for Matt Den Decker, who is 0 for 2 on the day. Fouled right back over the screen. Nice play made by somebody down below. Got a big hand. How about Matt Albers? Since he's come into the game, he's thrown 9 pitches, 8 strikes. He's recorded 3 outs, and he's given up a 25-foot single.
He had the bunt. That's right.
There's that sinker, but Den Decker wouldn't chase. High fastball swung on and missed. The slap tag not in time. Turner just beat the tag of Swisher.
Well, this is one way to keep them closer. You can see that secondary lead, and Santana comes up to make the throw, and it is close at first base, but he gets his hand back.
Barely. It was a lot closer than I thought it was.
Absolutely.
They've got a feeling that Turner is itching to run. He doesn't have a stolen base on the year, but.
Well, you see, when he took that secondary lead, there was a good shot. If you don't bust it back as soon as that ball goes past the hitter, and you've got a catcher that can throw, then you better hustle. And Santana made it awfully close.
He's running on the 1-2 pitch. Throw down.
There
not even
go.
close. He might have tagged him in the face.
He did. He
inadvertently,
right in the face.
Cabrera almost knocked Turner out cold. And he appears to be hurt. He had the sunglasses on, and that might have had something to do with it. Good throw by Santana, and Cabrera just applying the tag as he came in, and he nailed him right in the squash. To continue, Arch. I mean, he hasn't moved a whole lot since the inning ended.
He better put a glove on if he wants to catch anything.
I guess he's going to stay.
Sunday afternoon, you get your bell rung. You got to get back up and play, don't you? Watch the tag. Cabrera he was sliding down to get out of the tag, and he tagged him right in the face. Probably he punched him in the jaw. Look at that. Wow. Got him right there, so that hurt. And he had glasses on. You don't see him on there, do you? Didn't they come off?
I think they fell off.
Yeah. Well, who's leading it off? Let me see. Borney, good time to bunt. See if he's seeing one or two balls when he's walking in.
Turner's at third base, so we'll see. He just made his first throw across the diamond. Looks like he's all right.
Yeah, they were out there. He's fine. He just
that's akin to getting your bell rung, I suppose.
Yeah.
You probably saw stars for a moment or two.
I'll tell you, you're sliding in. He's going full speed, and then Cabrera's coming across, and that ball's in the glove. I'm sure that hurt a lot. He's going to have a sore jaw tomorrow. Indians still with just one hit.
Well, let's see if they can get something going. Third time through the lineup now. Bourne down the line, but it is hooking foul. Daisuke Matsuzaka turning back the clock. Bourne pulls it foul, and it's 0-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. That's down the line. That one is going to go foul by about a foot or so. The second time Bourne has hooked one down that right field line. That one was a little closer than the first one. Same result, though. The count 1-2.
That wind is pushing it that way, you know. He may have thought it was going to be a fair ball, but I think that wind pushes a little bit foul. Bounces into the seats.
Out of play. And now full count. Well, Michael Bourne now has pushed it to 3-2. The payoff pitch is slapped out of play. Two balls, two strikes. Beg your pardon. Matsuzaka steps away, though. Reset. 90th pitch of the afternoon for the right-hander coming up right here. In the air, center field, Den Decker on the move, and he's got him played perfectly. He was way over in the left center field gap, and that's exactly where Bourne hit it.
Right into the teeth of the defense.
All bets are off with Bruce Drennan. Kicks off our lineup tonight. He'll be talking Browns, the home opener, the Indians. That's all at 7 o'clock, followed by the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon at 9 right here on Sports Time Ohio. Up comes Nick Swisher, 1 for 2 today. He has the Indians' only hit of the game. Upstairs, ball 1. Right at the center fielder, Den Decker. 2 down. He is making it look easy.
You love to let him challenge the wind. Here you go. Just hit it to center field, and the wind will knock it down. Making it look easy is right. It's the third time that they've put outs for Den Decker in center. 3 in left.
Jason Kipnis drew a walk his last time up. Outside, he missed 1-1. Smash to left, a base hit. Jason Kipnis with the Indians' second hit of the afternoon. It's a 2-out single here in the 6th inning. It will keep the inning alive for Carlos Santana.
Well, the Indians' second hit, and both of the hits are almost the identical pitch. And Swisher went the other way with it, and so does Kipnis. On the fastball, they went the other way. They get base hits. That's all they've had today. This one coming with 2 outs. Swisher's was a leadoff single back in the 4th.
Well, we'll see if they can get something going here with Santana, who's 0 for 2 today and 2 for 8 in the series.
This is a guy you might be able to run on as well.
Kipnis back. Inside, he missed. Another quick throw over, but Kipnis not too far off the bag. Jason leads the club with 26 stolen bases. Vic Black, right-hander, just getting loose now in the New York bullpen. 2 balls and no strikes. Boy, I said it before. This is not the same guy the Mets saw the first 3 times he started for them.
Now he's throwing a lot of strikes, and you know he's got a chance to get through 6 innings here, right around the 100-pitch mark. Normally he's in the 5th, but he was throwing a lot more strikes.
The 2-0. Lays off, down low, 3 balls, no strikes.
Oh boy, looked like he went from our vantage point. Looked like it from up top. Let's check it out from the side. Yes, I thought he did. He catches a break. It goes to 3-0.
Called a strike. It's 3-1. Terry Collins looking at the matchups. Left-handed hitting Jason Kubel on deck. Ball 4. And now there are 2 on with 2 out here in the 6th inning. Kubel's coming up, but he's had a rough day. He has had no success against Daisuke. He has struck out both times. Dan Warthen, the pitching coach, will go out to check on Daisuke as the bullpen continues to heat up for New York. While they talk it over, we'll send it back to the studios for another in-game update with Al.
All right, man, let's go to Baltimore, where the White Sox are trying to end their 9-game losing streak, and Adam Dunn hits an absolute blast to right field. That's a 2-run homer, his 31st of the year. The White Sox have the lead on Baltimore now. It's 4-1. They're in the 6th inning at Camden Yards. Matt?
All right, that's potentially good news for the Indians. They'd like to see Chicago knock Baltimore off. Tribe and the Orioles began the day tied, 1 game back at Tampa in the wild card race. But the Indians have to take care of their own business, and they've got 2 on with 2 out, down 1-0 here in the 6th. See if Kubel can finally solve Dice K. Takes ball 1.
He hasn't been able to do anything today, but in his career he's been good against them. And now would be the right time. 2 outs. Runner in scoring position.
Way outside, 2-0.
They defense him the exact same way they do Swisher. 3 on the right side over there, and the outfielders are really playing him the other way. You look at Den Decker out in center field, and he's playing him like a right-handed pull hitter.
And the 2-0 pitch. Right back up the middle, it drills Dice K. Kubel will be safe at first, and the bases are loaded. So Kubel with an infield single. They're loaded with 2 down.
Wow, you want to talk about a bullet hit coming right back at you. It looked like he got leather on it. He must have, because he's still standing. But look at that ball. I don't know if he got it. That might have been off his body part.
Almost looked like it got him on the pitching arm.
You're right, it did. There's the fake. Murphy makes the fake throw. Watch this. I think the right pitching arm. Watch this. Oh, off the chest.
Oh,
my goodness. He did not get leather on that ball. That had to scare him. And Collins is already out and making the call to the bullpen.
Yeah, he's made the call, but nobody's answered to this point. Here we go.
Oh, it's coming out, but I mean, he has to be scared. That ball got him. He's smiling.
Yeah, he'll leave with the bases loaded and 2 down here in the 6th. Tribe down 1-0. The Indians have the bases loaded with 2 down thanks to this base hit by Jason Kubel.
My goodness, watch this. He put the glove up around the face. It stayed underneath and right off his chest. Stayed on the infield. Murphy comes in. He wasn't going to have a chance at Kubel at second base. So the bases remain loaded. Vic Black comes on for the 7th time. He's going to face Asdrubal Cabrera. with 2 outs. And the Indians a base hit away from taking the lead in this game.
And as you said, his last time up, when you're Asdrubal Cabrera and you're having the kind of year he's having, it seems like every time you come up, it's a critical spot.
Yeah. Two guys on in the 4th inning. And now he has them loaded here. Has a chance to be a hero.
Outside, ball 1. Kipnis the tying run at 3rd. Santana the go-ahead run at 2nd. Kubel down at 1st. Hit him, and the Indians have tied the game. Cabrera gets the RBI the hard way. And I don't know if that got him on the knee or around the calf, but they're going to take a look at him as Kipnis brings home the tying run from 3rd.
Well, they get it in. That's a painful way to do it. But
take another look at where it got him exactly.
I don't know. They're looking down around the ankle, maybe. Oh, right in the calf.
It was the calf.
Yes,
yeah,
right in the calf. That's like a Charlie horse.
Exactly.
There. I mean, a 95 mile an hour fastball. And this guy does look like he can be a little wild. You see how that arm, the hand comes out of the glove. That's going to hurt for a little while. But the Indians tie the score with 2 outs.
Trying to stretch it out.
They have a single, a walk, a single, a hit batter to get their run across. And now Giambi's going to have a chance. They're just giving Cabrera time. It's going to be sore for a while. Just stretch it out. He'll be okay. He'll be fine.
So Cabrera will stay in there. The bases are still loaded. And now with 2 down, a tie game, and Jason Giambi coming to the plate.
Well, what a time to get hit number 2,000.
Boy,
right
it
here,
sure
huh?
would. So many of his hits have been big hits for the Indians this year.
Yeah, you say right man at the right spot. Maybe this is the right man in the right spot.
Again, the Mets shift 3 on the right side for Giambi. Ground ball again right into the teeth of that shift. And again, they throw him out. The Indians tie the game as Asdrubal Cabrera taking one for the team, 1-1 through 6. Panini's with 18 locations in Northeast Ohio, and by Levin. Well, we roll to the 7th inning as you look in from our Panini Cam, brought to you by Panini's Bar and Grill. 1-1 our score. Matt Albers, who's worked an inning and a third scoreless out of the Indians bullpen, is staying on now to pitch here in the 7th inning. Dendecker 0 for 2. He has struck out, flied out. Chopped to short. Cabrera slings it over, and he got him one away. Close play. Dendecker hustling down the line. And now Anthony Recker, 0 for 2. Struck out both times up. Both of his at-bats, though, coming against Tribe starter Danny Salazar, who struck out 8 in his 4 innings of work. Bounce to third. Lonnie Chisenhall throws him out. 2 down. So Matt Albers has done a terrific job out of the bullpen so far today. The only hit he gave up was the 25-footer by Justin Turner. A little swing and bunt.
He's throwing strikes. He's got the sinker moving today.
11 out of his 13 pitches for strikes. Way outside. 2-0. A one hopper to short. Cabrera from the outfield grass throws him out. Mets go quickly. 1-2-3. 7th inning stretch time. We're all tied at 1. 7th inning stretch is brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Life is hard. Buying a car shouldn't be. 1-1 our score going to the bottom of the 7th inning. As mentioned earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. On this date, 1995, the Indians clinched the American League Central Division title in a trip to the postseason. And a wild celebration ensued that carried on into the wee hours of the morning.
It sure did. That was the first time in, 41 years.
Lonnie Chisnall is going to lead off here for the Indians. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Vic Black's pitch is down low, ball 1. Chisnall, little comebacker. 1 away. Stay tuned for Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. It's coming up following the ball game here on Sports Time Ohio. Al and Jason will have the highlights. Katie will have reaction from the Tribe Clubhouse and more, all straight ahead. Pitch in there for a strike. Drew Stubbs 0 for 2. He has struck out twice today. At the knees. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Curveball missed up high and a full count. Michael Bourne waiting on deck. Will it be with a man on base, or will it be with 2 down and the bases empty? We're about to find out. Stubbs strikes out for the 3rd time today.
Yeah, it looks like he chased the ball out of the zone. Swung at ball 4, but he will go down. That's out number 2.
Michael Bourne is 0 for 3. Has flied out twice, struck out once. Fastball up and away. 1-1 to count. Up and away. 2 balls and a strike. And Bourne got a piece of it. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 down. We got 3 guys warming up in the bullpen.
Well, that's all right. They're going to add a few more mounds maybe by
be like
tomorrow.
Spring training where you got like 5 at once.
5 and 6, yeah. They've got enough guys out there to fill it.
There's the 2-2. A little bit low and a full count again. Back out of play. Bourne stays alive. Another 3-2 fouled back. Vic Black has retired the first 2 here in the 7th, trying to make it a 1-2-3 inning. Michael Bourne gets aboard. Nick Swisher is next. A little half swing.
Now, this guy throws hard, and, you know, he may be tough to pick up. Watch how he pulls his hand out of that glove and pulls it out, you know, in a hurry. And Bourne just sees it, and it just deflects off his bat. So he stays alive again for another pitch.
This will be the 9th pitch of this at-bat. Driven to center field. Long run for Den Decker. Makes the catch. Boy, he had him played all the way over left center again. But he's still able to recover and make the catch. The Indians go in order, still tied at 1. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. All right, we're going to the 8th inning, and the Indians go back to their bullpen. And the new pitcher will be Cody Allen. Cody Allen on for the 66th time this year.
Elbers did a nice job, huh?
You kidding me? 2 1/3, scoreless, 1 hit allowed, struck out 1. 5 ground ball outs.
Yeah, he was very aggressive today. Good sinker. Had the ground ball working today. All ground ball outs except the 1 strikeout. There's that good sinker moving in on the hands of the right-handers. Let his infielders do some work. There's the strikeout. And then keep beating it on the ground. That's when he's at his best.
Top of the order for New York. Here in the 8th, Eric Young, Daniel Murphy, Josh Satin due up. Young 1 single on the day in 3 trips, 3 hits in the series. There's a strike called.
Well, you certainly don't want to walk this guy. He make him hit his way on, because he is certainly a threat to steal and just create a little havoc out there on the bases.
Well, he walked him. Leadoff man aboard for the Mets. Daniel Murphy has already walked twice today with a base hit back in the 1st inning. Strike over the outside edge. White Sox still lead the Orioles 4-1. They're in the 7th inning in Baltimore. Yankees clinging to a 3-2 lead over Boston. They're in the 8th in the Big Apple. Good high fastball. One run on 5 hits for the Yankees. No errors. They've left 5. 1 run on 3 hits for the Indians. No errors. They've stranded 6. Runner goes on the 0-2 pitch, and it's fouled back out of play. Cody Allen trying to put him away here with an 0-2 count. In and out of the glove of Santana. He stays alive.
This has happened a couple of times to Carlos today. That ball gets in there. That one hit the upper part of the glove and just didn't get into the pocket and jumped out of there.
Young not running on the pitch out, nothing doing. Quick throw over, but Young not too far off the bag, able to get back easily. Sometimes immediately following a pitch out is when a guy will take off, figuring you're not going to do it consecutively. Fouls it away.
He's just flipping it out there to stay alive. Little fastball away. Didn't try and do anything but just foul it off.
Runner goes, and the 1-2 is grounded foul. Not by much. Right down that line. Everybody comes back. Try it again. Young holds, and the 1-2 is light down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Into the corner, digging it out. Kubel's throw towards third, but Young is in there safely.
Boy, how is that for hitting? I mean to tell you, 2-strike breaking ball. After just pulling that fastball, just foul the first base line. Watch this swing he puts on this breaking ball by Allen and just serves it down the left field line. Now, wow, this is good hitting. Good hitting, good pitch. Santana was going for a backhander in the dirt. And he picks this ball up and just slices it down the left field line. Fair. That'll go as extra bases. That'll be his 33rd double. And now the Mets in business, second and third with nobody out.
Cody Allen going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to try and keep this thing tied now. You've got Josh Satin coming up, 1 for 3 on the day. And then you've got Lucas Duda on deck, followed by Justin Turner. Indians infield comes in. And it's outside, ball 1. There's a strike called. It's 1-1. Checks his swing and kind of fouls it over the right side and out of play. 1-2 the count. Now Cody can go for the strikeout now. He could use one here.
Boy, could he ever.
Grounded toward short. Cabrera will look the runner back. Throws him out, one away.
Or he'll take a ground ball right at one of his infielders.
That works too.
It does for the first out. Now comes Francona. He's going back to his bullpen.
He's going to go to the left-hander to match up with Lucas Duda. Mets at second and third, one out here in the eighth, and the game tied at 1. Mets have runners at second and third with one out. Lucas Duda, left-handed hitter, coming up. And the Indians go to left-hander Rich Hill out of the bullpen.
He'll be on here for one hitter only. They'll keep the infield the same they had it. In the cut off the run at the plate. So Rich Hill coming in to match up.
No, Rich Hill, left-handed hitters batting .231 against him on the year. Duda climbs in, ready to go with the go-ahead run, Eric Young, who runs very well at third base. Curveball. I don't know. Looked pretty good. Called ball 1. Outside 2-0. There's a good pitch. Buckled him a little bit with the breaking ball, and it's 2-1. Three balls and a strike. Let's take another look. Did this go inside?
Well, I don't know. Let's take a look.
It's right over the heart of the plate. So they count 3-1. There's a strike called and a full count. Second and third, one out. Young, the speedster at third base, infield in, payoff pitch. Fouled off the end of the bat over the top of the Tribe dugout. And we'll do it again at 3-2.
It's been a steady diet of breaking balls to Lucas Duda. See if he comes back and tries to lock him up with a fastball. I think he's good. With first base open, you come back with the good breaking ball. It was the first time he was able to swing at one, the 3-2 count, and foul it off.
He walked him, and the bases are loaded.
And that'll do it.
You've got the right-handed hitting Justin Turner coming up. He is 2 for 3 on the day with a home run back in the fourth for the Mets' only run. We've got another timeout for another pitching change. We'll be right back. The Mets have them loaded up with only one out here in the 8th inning. Joe Smith is now on for the Tribe. His 62nd appearance of the year. 6-2 at 2.43 ERA. He'll be facing Justin Turner, who has 5 hits in the series to lead New York. And he's hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, 5 for 11. He's had a really good series. And I'll tell you, no room for error here. This guy takes a healthy cut. He got on top of a high fastball today off Danny Salazar and launched it halfway up into the bleachers to give the Mets their run for today. Now he's coming up with bases loaded. No room to put him anywhere. You got to go at him here if you're Joe Smith.
Well, and Joe Smith's got to hope that he can get Turner to roll over on one of those sinkers and maybe bank it into a double play here.
Yeah. That would be exactly what you're looking for. The infield now, they've moved back a little bit, and they're halfway. You've got good speed at third base, so they need a ball hit at one of their infielders to turn it.
Turner takes a strike. Remember also, Turner's last time up, he hit a little dribbler for a hit, and then on a steal attempt, he got tagged in the face, and he was down on the field for several minutes before he got up and stayed in the ball game.
Wow.
2 quick strikes.
Right out of the chute, man. A sinker in, a slider away, and he's down in the count 0-2.
And he fouls it off. No balls, 2 strikes. The count stays on Justin Turner. Joe Smith coming into a tight spot here. Bases loaded, 1 out in a 1-1 game. Popped him up foul, back out of play. Terry Collins, his club has been stifled by the Indians throughout this series, but they had a 1-0 lead until the Tribe tied it in the 6th. The 0-2. Almost got him, and I don't know how it missed him. It was right in on his hip.
I think Turner felt the same way. We heard him yelling from up here, and that ball is running in, and I'll tell you, it almost looked like it got a piece of his jersey.
Almost unbuttoned it.
That would have been awfully close. That's how the Indians scored. They bases loaded, they hit a guy.
Popped up foul, back out of play. Count stays 1-2. Joe Smith, a terrific fielding pitcher. Tell you what else would work right here as a comebacker.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Now the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chopped foul, third base side. Turner stays alive to see yet another pitch. Joe Smith went right at him with a good sinker and a slider to get ahead 0-2. And now Turner about to see the 9th pitch of the at-bat.
This kid's a tough out, man. He just continues to swing away and foul him off. He had about a 10-pitch at bat against Salazar earlier in the game, didn't he? He was. It was a 10-pitch at bat. He's a tough out.
Bases loaded with 1 out here in the 8th. In a 1-1 ball game. Now Santana will go out and talk with Smith.
Well, why not? They're taking a long time, and one wants to call one, the other wants to throw another. So go out and discuss it. A very important part of this ball game here. And this hitter. There's 1 out. He had him down on the count 0-2. He's fouled off a number of pitches, and they better get on the same page.
Here comes Joe Smith set, and now Turner steps out. How can you not be ready when he just went out there and
cat and mouse, man? Cat and mouse. He's making him wait. He's going to step out when he gets ready.
What is going on here with the umpire now? Oh, Elmo's yelling at Joe Smith. Everybody's a little chippy. The 2-2. Swung out and missed. He struck him out. And Turner, apparently, I don't know if Turner's barking at Joe Smith or what's going on, but Paul Emmel followed him halfway to the dugout.
Well, that's all right. That's That's the confrontation right there. And you guess what? Joe Smith won that battle. Gets in a swing and miss. I don't know if he tried to quick pitch him or not, but he comes here with a nice slider and got out of the way. And he must have said something
Yeah,
to
he
Smitty,
sure did.
and Smitty answered back.
I think I could tell what Joe Smith told him.
You can tell me in between innings if you would.
It was something along the lines of get to the dugout quickly. Well, he's still not out of the woods yet, though. Juan Lagares 0 for 3 today, but a 12-game hitting streak coming in. He has struck out twice, grounded out. Way outside, he missed 1-1. Joe Smith, who began his big league career with this New York Mets team back in 2007. Trying to get out of a big jam here. 1-1 pitch, grounded foul. So now the count of ball and 2 strikes. With 2 down and the bases loaded in the 8th in a 1-1 game. Just 13,317 on hand here today in the series finale. But they're up on their feet now. And the 1-2 pitch. Outside, he couldn't get him to chase.
Boy, this would be like a Houdini act they get out of this one, huh?
You're not kidding. Gary Francona's on the edge of his seat, even though he's standing. And the 2-2. Way outside, a full count now. Nowhere to put him. He's got to throw him a strike. Bases loaded, 2 down. Runners go. Ground ball to first. Backhanded stop by Swisher. Goes to the bag. And the inning is over. Joe Smith does indeed pull a rabbit out of the hat for the Indians here in the 8th inning as the Mets leave them loaded. After Joe Smith did a tremendous job coming into a bases loaded 1-out jam. Gets a strikeout and a ground out. And we stay tied as we go now to the bottom of the 8th inning. Vic Black, he's worked an inning and a third scoreless. He'll stay on to face Nick Swisher. Jason Kipnis, Carlos Santana due up. They're underway in Seattle, where Tampa Bay is looking to avoid the sweep. But the Indians have already closed it within a game of the Rays in that wild card race. Baltimore losing at home to Chicago. So it's all in front of Cleveland. They've got to find a way to win this game here today to keep the heat on Tampa. You mentioned it before, Rick. You look at the schedule, and the Indians certainly have the easier path potentially to the postseason. And the numbers really back that up, because the Indians this year against sub-500 teams have gone 42-17.
Right.
So they have really beaten the teams you're supposed to beat, as they say. 2-0 pitch to Swisher is up high. And the reason for that record is they've played well on both sides. The ERA for the team is 3.16. Excellent.
Yeah.
And they've scored more than 5 runs per game.
And that's why they're still playing here, is because they only have 1 on the board yet today, with only 3 hits, mind you. And the way their run scored, they had bases loaded, and a hit batter scored the run.
Leadoff walk to Swisher. Terry Collins has seen enough from Victor Black. He's going to go back to his bullpen as the Indians get the leadoff man aboard here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. We're going to get a pinch runner for Swisher as well. Looks like Jose Ramirez is going to come on and run. We'll sort it all out for you when we come back. Tribe has their leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the 8th inning. And New York has gone to their bullpen. Left-hander Pedro Feliciano on for the 15th time. Left-hander will be facing the left-handed hitting Jason Kipnis. Figure Kipnis probably up here bunting with pinch runner Jose Ramirez in for Swisher now at first base. Kipnis 1 for 2 on the day. Singled and scored in the 6th. The only run of the game for the Tribe thus far. Throw over. Kipnis did not tip his hand. But no. Turner's in on the grass at third nonetheless.
But if you're Ramirez, your head's up there for a ball in the dirt, too. If he chooses to throw a breaking ball I would assume he's going to be bunting here.
He's not. Takes a strike. Kipnis pulls it foul, so not bunting. It's 0-2.
Now, the way they've had success here in the last week, where they've been playing well in the month of September, it seems like guys have been doing it on their own, bunting and moving runners along, and they've been pretty successful at it. I just figured that now would be the time. It's the 8th inning. It's a one-run game. You got a tough lefty out there. Let's move the runner and see what happens. Give your guys next in line a chance. But he didn't do it. Now he's going to have to battle in this at-bat. Down 0-2.
Strikes him out. 3 pitches. 1 away.
Real slow hook right here. You'll see Kipnis way out in front of it. He throws it for a ball, but he gets him to chase it.
Great second look.
The spin. Yeah, the spin of it right there, and it slows it down.
Talking things over with Feliciano, with Carlos Santana coming up here. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. That Yan Gomes in the on-deck circle? Gomes has moved on to pinch hit for Kubel. And a strike called over the inside corner. Carlos just 2 out of 8 in the series. And it's 0-2. Another left-hander up in the bullpen. Interesting to see a left-hander
follow
behind the left-hander.
Yeah.
The 0-2, way outside. First pitch Feliciano has thrown that was not a strike to this point. Ramirez a good lead at first. But he holds, and Santana breaks his bat and bloops it into left field for a base hit.
Well, the barrel head of that bat went flying. He had the handle in his hand, but he bloops it into left field in front of Young. You move the go-ahead run 90 feet. He is in scoring position now. And look at that ball, might have been a foot outside. It looked like he turned something over, maybe a changeup there, Matt. He just went with it and put it in play. And look at, he's got the little handle and the toothpick in his hand to prove it. So that'll go as a base hit. Feliciano is going to be replaced now by the other left-hander. Francisco
Terry Collins is going to make the move to the bullpen for the right-hander, Frank Francisco. And he'll be coming on when we come back. Tribe has 2 on and 1 out as we take a look at our in-game box score brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. And for the Indians today, it's been tough sledding. They have 4 hits on the day, and their only run came when Asdrubal Cabrera took one for the team with the bases loaded back in the 6th. But they're still swinging and still have a chance because the pitching has kept them in it. Yan Gomes will pinch hit. He'll face Frank Francisco. Big right-hander, 49th appearance of the year, 23 out of 26 in save situations. We watched him for years coming out of that Texas Rangers bullpen.
Sure did.
He also spent a year with the Toronto Blue Jays between Texas and New York. Low and away, ball 1. Count 2 balls, no strikes. Obviously now for Gomes, stay patient. Right back to the screen. Nothing like throwing a guy right back in the fire, too, for Francisco. He was just activated from the DL yesterday, so it's his first appearance. And he comes in with 2 on and 1 out.
Well, I mean, he's been there before. He has it, the mentality. So, yeah, you're ready, you're healthy, go on in and do it. He just challenged Gomes right there on a 2-0 pitch. Gomes had a good swing but fouled it straight back.
He had surgery back in December to remove a bone spur from his right elbow, and this is his first game back. 2-1 pitch. Upstairs with it, 3 balls and a strike. Francisco, a long look in as Gomes takes aim, a 3-1 count. Upstairs, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. This is a Mets bullpen that certainly had its issues against the Indians so far in this series. They've given up 8 earned runs in the first 2 games of the series. Dan Wortham, the pitching coach, is already coming out after 1 batter.
Well, they've walked 2 in the inning, and the hit that they have is a broken bat variety that Santana had the handle left in his hand. But they have the bases loaded. They have the go-ahead runner at third base. There is only 1 out, and our man again is coming to the plate. Cabrera, bases loaded, 1 out. He drove in the only run, or he was like a pincushion. He got hit.
I was going to say, wait, how do you want to rephrase that? He drove it in.
He didn't drive it, and he got hit, and it came in, and he was given an RBI. How about that? But that's how they're on the board. Take another one like that, although it would be a painful way to do it. He did it in the calf the last time.
Well, especially against this guy. He can throw pretty hard, or at least he used to. It's just unusual for a guy who hasn't pitched all season long, and then his first appearance of the year comes in a tight situation like this. He walks the first man he faces, and now he lays one in there, but Cabrera fouls it back out of play. Bases loaded, 1 out. And an 0-1 count for Cabrera. Weekly tap towards second. Murphy to second for 1. Off to first, a double play. Bases loaded, 1 out. The Indians cannot score. We'll go to the 9th, still tied at 1.
Out on the field as we are heading into the 9th inning. It's a tie ball game. The Mets and the Indians are tied at 1. Let's check out our Akron's Children Hospital keys to the game. And it was Salazar pounding the zone. In 4 innings, he had 8 strikeouts. Gave up 4 hits, but he was up right around the 80 pitch mark after his 4 innings. And then the patience against Dice K. Well, here's a game where the guy was throwing strikes today. Gave up just 3 hits, and that coming back into the 6th inning when they finally did get the run. They knocked him out of the ball game. He got hit with a line drive, and he ended up giving the only run. That's where we stand. The 7th pitcher for the Indians this afternoon will be Chris Perez, coming in the 9th for the 48th time. 5-2 record. And the Indians had a great opportunity to score there, but they got the ground ball double play. And going into the ball game, we got Matt Carson in left field. He will take over for Kubel. Santana goes to first. And behind the plate, Yan Gomes. And I think that we are all square.
Chris Perez lets it fly, and a first pitch swinging is Den Decker, and a base hit in the right field. So the Mets get their leadoff man aboard here in the ninth. Unusual in a ball game that you see both teams load the bases with one out in the same inning, and neither team scores.
Right.
Anthony Recker 0 for 3 on the day, has struck out twice and grounded out. Santana with the long shovel over to Kipnis. One away as Den Decker gets into scoring position. So 3-4 on the sacrifice. And now the Mets have the go-ahead run in scoring position for Omar Quintanilla, who is 0 for 3 on the day. A little bit outside, ball one. Quintanilla grew up in the Lone Star State, played for the University of Texas, and originally drafted by Oakland. He's played with the Rockies and now the Mets here in the big leagues. Swung on and missed. Perez gassed it by him at 92 miles an hour.
Yeah, I remember seeing him when we visited Colorado back years ago, maybe 2007, somewhere around there.
Yep. Also spent a little time with the Texas Rangers in 2011. And last year, a handful of games with Baltimore. Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Two-one pitch, swung out and missed. Bumped it by him. It's now 2-2. Eric Young Jr. waiting on deck. Strikes him out, 2 away. 12th strikeout of the day for Indians pitchers.
Gets him to swing, and I think he got a piece of it right into the glove of Gomes on the fastball. But he will go down as out number 2.
Eric Young Jr. 1 for 3 on the day. He has singled and walked. 3 hits in the series. Tad outside, I guess. Ball 1. Young batting .256 on the year, as you see there, but in his last 10 games coming in, hitting .350. So he's been pulling his share of the load for New York of late. Down low, 2 balls, no strikes. Royals beat the Tigers in Kansas City 5-2 the final there. Yankees beat Boston as well. White Sox still lead over Baltimore. Ripped to right field. That's a base hit, and the Mets will take the lead. Young is on his way to second base, and he's got a 2-out RBI double, and New York is on top 2-1. He took that Chris Perez pitch and just turned it around down into the right field corner.
Well, he sure did. And let's see the location. I mean, it couldn't have been any better. Right on the middle third, coming in, and he just drops the bat head down and drilled it down into the corner. That was a bad pitch. If you're Chris Perez, good one. If you're Young, and he did what he's supposed to do with it. They're going to intentionally walk Murphy now.
That'll set it up for Josh Satin, right-handed hitter. So 2 on, 2 out. Satin the batter. Perez delivers. And a slider for a first pitch strike. And a called strike. It's 0-2. Missed with it, a ball and 2 strikes. Two on, 2 out, 1 ball, 2 strike count. Perez deals. And now the count evens up at 2-2. Crowd wanted this. They thought it was strike 3, but a little low and away. Chop towards short. Cabrera will go to Kipnis. That's the inning-ending force. But the New York Mets have surged ahead to take a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Express and Total Car Care. It's coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. 2-1 Mets lead at bottom of the ninth inning. Bottom third of the Indians order due up here. We'll see what the Indians have to offer here against LaTroy Hawkins. Old Man River, he just keeps rolling along.
Yeah, he has been around a long time. LaTroy Hawkins appearing for the 63rd time. This guy has got one of those arms that, you know, I guess you got to love if you're the manager. He continues to come out. It doesn't matter with his age. He's 3-2. He has pitched 60 2/3 innings, struck out 47, has walked 10. He used to have the good fastball. Look at that, 933 games in his career. He used to be a good fastball and a curveball.
40 years old, he still looks like a skinny kid, doesn't he?
Yeah. I
Keeps
remember
himself in
a
great
long
shape.
time ago when he was with Minnesota, we were in the Metrodome. We had a shot one time. We panned down to the bullpen when they were on the field, and he was taking a little nap during the game. It wasn't his turn to get up and pitch.
Well, nobody's going to sleep on him of late.
Sirree.
He has been unscored upon in 15 of his last 17 appearances. Jason Giambi bloops one toward the left field line. It's a fair ball. Giambi with his 2,000th career hit. He takes a spill, scampers back to first, and goes in with a head-first dive. Giambi style all the way. His 2,000th career hit, and the Indians have their leadoff man aboard. We'll get a pinch runner as Mike Aviles comes on.
Yes, indeed. That's number 2,000, and you start the inning off. Way to go. This will be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. For a guy that's been around for a long time, he's going to get hit number 2,000. And it starts the bottom half of the ninth off with a base hit. He thought double, but puts the brakes on. Uh-oh, I better get back. So there it was. Congratulations, Jason Giambi, 2,000th hit. Let's hope it can come around and score.
Now Lonnie Chisenhall steps in. Hawkins with a lob toss to first. Aviles, the base runner now, representing that tying run. Lonnie Chisenhall is 0 for 3 today. Chased a high fastball. And at 40 years old, he can still pump it in there at 94 miles an hour. Fly ball left field. Young will make the catch. One away. Chisenhall 0 for 4. And Drew Stubbs, who is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, will be coming up now. Stubbs struck out swinging in the third, looking in the fifth, and swinging in the seventh. Turner guarding the line at third. Low and away, ball one. Aviles takes off. Here's the throw down, and he's out. Second base umpire Gary Darling, the crew chief, has just ejected Mike Aviles from the game. Avila's really up in his grill, and Gary Darlin is giving it right back to him. And now Terry Francona's giving it to him. Let's take another look at this. This is going to be a close play at second base. Does he actually apply the tag on him?
It's a one-hop throw. He gets him. Well, that's close. It looks like it. Takes him on the leg right around the knee.
It's behind. See, it looks like he tags him.
Right.
But from where the umpire's standing, he can't see that.
Well,
he might have missed him.
Well, that's hard to say. The ball's there. The ball is in the glove. And by the time Aviles comes up, he's saying he tagged him. So that's 2 outs now.
Strike called to Stubbs. It's 1-2. That's the ball game. Stubbs strikes out for the 4th time tonight. And the New York Mets salvage the finale of the series with a 2-1 victory over the Indians. Chris Perez is the loser today. He drops to 5-3. The win goes to Frank Francisco, his first appearance of the year, and he gets the win. LaTroy Hawkins notches his 8th save. Loss drops the Tribe to 76-66, stops their 4-game win streak, and the Mets go to 64-77 on the year. Time now for our key play of the game, brought to you by KeyBank.
Well, let's go into the 9th inning, and you got a guy, but Perez tries to go inside on him, and he just turns it around and hits it down into the corner to drive in the go-ahead run to make it a 2-1 ball game. And that was enough for it to stick. You get a free Kindle Fire HD when you sign up for a new checking account. Some restrictions apply.
Well, the Indians unable to generate enough offense to get the sweep here today against the New York Mets. They fall by a final of 2-1. We'll be back to talk about it on Indians Live next.